What's up, everyone?
Good evening.
Happy Sunday.
It's a gorgeous Sunday out here.
No, it's not.
Blanketed with snow.
Yuck.
It is a gorgeous Sunday out here.
It is not.
Don't listen to her.
It is not.
We are here to talk about all of the fun that we had between the beginning of May 2023 and the very end of December 2023.
We packed it hard.
We packed it in, and between May, June, and July, we had 3 cruises.
We did.
August and September, we had 4 long weekends away.
We did.
October, we had 10 days in Japan. November, we got to visit the equator and Machu Picchu in South America. And then in December, we had two more stellar long weekend trips.
We did.
Now, interspersed in there would be a concert. Some of our long weekends were surrounded by concerts, but at the end, we spent about 80 days.
That's a lot.
Away from home.
And Red Fox.
And Red Fox.
That's a lot.
And most of the time we were away from Liberty too.
Well, yeah, we were, but Liberty's in a better place right now.
That's right. So, where do you want to begin?
Well, let's start with, the obvious. So 2023, we had a rigorous tax season. January, February, March, April, worked every day. Didn't really get to do much, other than the traditional Valentine's Day dinner, which I can do without anymore because I don't need a special holiday to express my love for you. And then, of course...
You're scaring me.
And then in March, of course, we had the anniversary. And then we finished out the tax year, and then we were gone.
And we were gone. Our first trip of the year was the MSC World Europa that departed from Naples, Italy, and visited 6 places in the Mediterranean.
So that trip, we started off with going to see my relatives, who I haven't seen in 4 years?
Lucia's first cousins in between Rome and Naples, and they were our hosts for a couple of nights.
Yep, they sure were. So we went over there and got to hang out with them for a little while, and then we went to Naples before we got to board the ship. And the embarkation process when we got on MSC World Europa was pretty smooth. I don't think we had any major issues or many problems. Maybe a lot of people in the queue when we were getting on it for the first time, but the minute we hit the ship, talk about overwhelming, oh my God.
MSC World Europa was a brand spanking new ship that had just served as a hotel.
And you're just seeing it now.
Moored in Qatar for the World Cup.
And you're now seeing it in your commercials on your major television, what they're showing you on this trip.
Commercial, you will see MSC World Europa.
What you're seeing on the commercials is what the ship is all about. It's an amazing ship. You could actually go back into our YouTube videos and check it out because it was just incredible.
Oh, by the way, everything that we're talking about here tonight has been documented in our videos.
Yes.
Each day that we were away, Lucia would do her video recap of the entire day.
But Lucia needs to learn to use a computer now moving forward and not the phone.
The videos are done, the videos are out there, so if you have more interest in details behind some of the stops that we made along the way, you can go and check them out.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember, May, June, and July we were on cruises. May, we had the MSC World Europa around the Mediterranean.
That was great.
June, we returned to Amsterdam to pick up the Holland America.
My favorite ship. Here's what I love.
Rotterdam.
Here's what I love about the Holland America ship, Rotterdam. So when we went on it for the first time, it was in the fall of 22.
September of 22.
Ooh, I got something right. Oh. We had no kids on the ship. whatsoever.
Childless ship.
It was child-free. But when we went back in 23, it wasn't as much child-free, but it still catered to the adults. And it is just a beautiful ship. I love Holland America so much that I wish we were going on again, but we'll get to that later. But
July, we got to do our obligatory cruise to Alaska from Seattle, Washington.
on NCL that we haven't been on in, 7 years?
We were on an NCL ship
In 2016.
2016.
I missed the NCL start. We got to go back on that again because I want that Rodizio so bad.
We had a Brazilian restaurant on the top floor. That was awesome. Don't mind her. She's just getting over her cough and cold.
Yeah, I'm just getting over being sick.
And our last trip of the year got us both sick.
But we'll get to that in a minute.
I'm kind of over it now. Let's go and recap one of the things that was underlying with all three cruises.
But wait, you didn't tell them about NCL Encore.
I said that we went to Alaska on NCL Encore.
NCL Encore was go ahead.
We're going to talk more about all of that. I'm just trying to tell you one thing that's going on between all three. It rained, okay? This is what I'm trying to tell you, Lucia. This is the raindrops that are pouring on your head, okay? We had rain in the south of France. We had rain in Malta. We had rain in Naples when we left and when we returned. So we started with rain, ended with rain. We had some sunshine between Rome and Naples, which was wonderful. We had a wonderful time in Sicily. We got to visit Palermo, Sicily.
Oh, that was good.
And Genoa, Italy, it rained all day long. Bergen in Norway, it rained.
Yeah,
We got to visit Geiringer Fjord. We just dodged the raindrops.
Geiringer Fjord was beautiful.
And in Alaska, we had rain every single day.
We did.
It was rain.
We didn't have enough time in the ports anyway, so it didn't matter.
Now, a couple of exceptions to that were the sunny days that, well, I guess it wasn't so much a sunny day. Well, when we got to visit Sicily and we had the electric bicycles, it rained.
Yeah.
And when we went to Barcelona, we did have a sunny day in Barcelona, so that was good. In Marseille, in the south of France, again, it was electric bicycle tour. So we had 3 different electric bicycle tours, and it was beautiful all morning long until we were heading back to the ship, and then it rained.
And you got hurt.
And I actually slipped on the cobblestones when it got
And
rained.
Lucia freaked out like no tomorrow.
Well, I hurt this little hand of mine over here, but it got better.
Thank God.
Back to when we were there, we spent about 10 days in May between visiting the cousins, going on the cruise, and then heading back. We had a special stopover. We had a long layover in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Ooh,
This to me was one of the highlights of our
Tivoli
trip.
Gardens.
But what was the problem with it?
It rained.
It rained. The rain followed us everywhere in May, June, and July. So 10 days we had, it probably came out to 11 days because of the extra day at Tivoli Gardens. We got to experience it. It gave us just enough of a taste that we want to return there, of course. Our video on Copenhagen is probably very limited because of said rain. Fast forward to June when we had 2 days in Amsterdam. We did get to ride bicycles there, and it was sunny while we were there. We had marvelous 2 days before we boarded the ship in Amsterdam.
We did.
And then when we got on the ship, like Lucia said, we were at home on the Rotterdam by Holland America.
Rotterdam's the best.
You can stop by the Dutch Cafe for some puffer jets or a cup of black dark coffee.
Speaking of
or
which,
you can hang out. What?
Speaking of which, now you know how to make those puffer jets.
That's right. I bought the pan. I bought the ingredients. We had it for breakfast this morning on our snowed-in snow day.
Yep.
But great trip to the Mediterranean, and then off to Amsterdam to pick up the ship that was headed to Norway. This is the second time we were on that ship. We were on it in September of 2022, and then we were on it again here in June of 2023. I think we booked it while we were on it because we loved it so much.
And the reason why we do that is when you're on a cruise ship, you want to book your next cruise while you're on that cruise ship because you're not going to get the deals that they're going to offer you anywhere else. So when we were on World Europa, we booked our next one, which we'll tell you in a minute. Same thing with Holland, but we backed out Holland, America for another trip, which we're going to be talking about shortly. But NCL, we booked the Panama Canal, and that's going to be in December. But we're getting all to this in a minute.
So let's stick with 2023.
But all the deals that we have gotten on these booking for the future cruise dates that we're about to talk about, trust me, do it when you take your next cruise.
The future cruise desk is your friend.
Yes.
All right.
And tonight is brought to you by Mingle All the Way. Tonight's dry drinker diary. No alcohol. Very refreshing.
Yamo.
It is Yamo.
Cranberry Cosmo.
Yeah.
In any event, our June cruise on Holland America was successful nonetheless. We didn't get to spend a lot of time in the swimming pool, but then again, we didn't get to spend a lot of time in the swimming pool on our next cruise when we went to Alaska. This was a cold weather cruise. They took us to the glaciers.
They did.
They took us to rainy Skagway, and then they took us to rainy Ketchikan. The only place that it rained was in Juneau, and in Juneau we really only had a limited amount of time to explore. The reason for that is our flight left late from New Jersey. We got into Seattle and we got to miss picking up our luggage for the sake of jumping on the bus that took us to our cruise ship. We got on the cruise ship, and no less than 5 minutes later, the cruise ship left the port. So they held the ship for us.
Because the people that we were with, they were like trying to stall so bad just because they wanted their luggage. It's like, no, we gotta go.
So we wore the same clothes for 2 days on our NCL cruise to Alaska, which first day was actually a day at sea. So we didn't even get off of the ship. A couple of people saw us with the same clothes on after 2 days and made comments, but I'm sure that they had their luggage with them, unlike us. The entire NCL cruise was also overshadowed by all of the children. Lots of children.
Too much.
Too many children on the NCL. What was the name of the NCL? Encore. NCL Encore. Star was the first NCL ship that we went on back in 2016, but the NCL Encore actually had a go-kart track up on the top deck.
We tried to get on that ride, but we failed.
We tried to get on it.
We didn't get our tickets in advance.
Without an advance ticket, you were subject to waiting around everyone else's reservation, and it didn't go over really well.
Nope.
The indoor pools at the NCL Encore were basically non-existent unless you wanted to pay for a spa day, and we weren't down to pay for a spa day. You needed a coat and hat and gloves to go out on the deck because it was that cold. The other problem that we had with the Alaska cruise is just this. The very limited amount of time that you were allowed to spend in each port was discouraging. We had a berth in one of the, our first town, Skagway, because Juneau, we were in Juneau for half of a day and spent most of the time running to the airport to pick up our luggage that we needed so terribly. Return the luggage back to the ship. Got to experience the duck farts and king crab legs. Obligatory again.
You enjoyed that duck fart. That was disgusting. Just in the smell of it. Thank God I don't drink.
But in Skagway, we got off of the ship. We started walking the town because we had an afternoon tour, and it rained, and it scared us back onto the ship. The time we had in Skagway, that was the longest day that we had to spend in Alaska because we had the morning and then we had a tour in the afternoon. Luckily, the rain stopped for our tour in the afternoon.
That was a nice tour.
and we were able to get back on the ship. But the very next day, they took us to Ketchikan.
There's a question in the chat.
And are you guys ever going to Korea? Possibly next year, but we will get to that. Our trip to Alaska, we got to spend all of 12 hours on Alaskan soil. To stop in Ketchikan, we weren't even allowed to go and shop for a keychain or a magnet because we got rousted off of the ship. The ship was a half an hour away from Ketchikan. It did not dock right at Ketchikan. And an industrial port that they were using. We got on a bus that took us over there in a half an hour. And then we went to the Lumberjack show.
Which was a great show.
Fantastic. 2 hours. Lucia got a card for being the loudest person in the audience. And after the Lumberjack show, we were told to go straight to the bus because you had to get back to the ship because the ship was leaving. And here again, we had a half-hour walk to get to where the bus was, and then a half-an-hour drive on the bus to get back to the ship. Of course, they took you through the gift shop on the way back, but we couldn't even stop because we had to get back on the ship. Last stop was the obligatory, here again, you're required to stop in a foreign country if you leave on an American cruise ship. And we were required to stop in Victoria, British Columbia. Sunday night, we got there at 8 o'clock. We were supposed to be back on the ship for 11 o'clock, so we had a very limited amount of time. We signed up for a $40 walking tour that included snacks, and we got to Chinatown in Victoria, British Columbia. Everything was closed.
So going back to Saskatchewan, no, not Saskatchewan, Ketchikan, right? That was the Lumberjack show?
Yes.
So what they did was, somebody asked a question in the chat, so I'm just going to answer the question. So they wanted the loudest person and the rowdiest person in the audience to win the signed postcard. Well, the minute they said that, I started jumping up and down. I don't think I was the loudest, but I think they saw me reacting first, which is how I won it. But yeah, I was the loudest out of all the kids there, and there were a lot of piercing screams. So why do you think I'm sitting on the left-hand side of him tonight?
Piercing.
Oh, those screams are brutal.
Genuinely, we will not return to Alaska on a cruise ship. Because I think it was a big ripoff. We enjoyed the cruise ship. The NCL Encore, again, is a brand new ship. It had plenty of specialty restaurants to choose from. And we really enjoy that.
They were good.
But we also like some time on the pool deck. And we didn't have any time on the pool deck. There were a couple of interesting things to do on the ship that we did get to do, but it wasn't enough to outweigh the
only
disappointment.
time that it was cold when we were in Alaska was when we were around the glaciers. Other than that, it was pretty warm when we went, which I was a little bit surprised.
We had a warm day in Seattle when we returned. I don't think that we had a warm day. We had rain in Ketchikan, we had rain in Skagway, and Juneau was practically non-existent. Next, we get to August and September, and we had four long weekends away.
That was great.
Number one, we got to spend an extended long weekend in New York City for Pink and Metallica. We had a Pink concert on Friday night, and then Saturday and Sunday. Pink concert was Thursday night, and then Friday and Sunday were the Metallica nights.
Okay, can I share my thoughts about that weekend? So, the Pink concert, we had bad seats. The concert was not bad. Pink always puts on a great show. It was just the seats where we were sitting, they were misadvertised, and we did not enjoy the show one bit. But when
side view,
don't ever buy a side view seat when you're going to a concert.
And we couldn't see anything, and we couldn't hear much either because the sound system was not like Metallica's.
Oh my
sound
God!
system.
So the Metallica seats We were in the top row of the show, or top row of the stadium, I'm sorry.
Friday night.
And you cannot have a bad seat at all. There's just not one bad seat. But when we were upgraded by friends of ours for Sunday night, man, they were the best seats in the house. We were right down by the snake pit.
Thank you, Adam and Kara.
Yeah, definitely.
We can say that on our cruise to Alaska that we got to sit down with Ben and...
Oh, yeah. Ben Roper and his wife.
Right.
Yeah, we can't forget that either. That was pretty
So
cool.
we found some hometown people on the ship, and
Yeah,
we
we
hung out
did.
with them on more than one occasion.
Yeah, we did. That was cool.
And her name is
Liza.
Liza.
Yeah.
I was going to say Lisa.
No, it's not
That's
Lisa.
close.
It's Liza.
Liza.
I think it's Liza.
Ben and Liza, great company. Thanks again for sharing that
Yeah.
with us.
We had fun with that. And we even got gifted virtual drinks from Mr. Christopher Schreiber.
That's
We were
right.
all away. So that
That's
was
right.
cool, too.
Back to the beginning of August. Thursday was Pink, Friday was Metallica, and Sunday was Metallica. But in between, we actually found a hidden gem in New York City. The Gogi 37
We have been there several
Korean
times.
barbecue restaurant.
That's
we
an
visited.
addiction.
We went there on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday
Yeah.
and Saturday night, and we had the best Korean barbecue between those 3 nights. It just made us keep coming back again, and now we have been seeking out Korean barbecues on trips for the rest
Yeah,
of the year.
exactly. You even bought a grill.
Our friends, the Hagans, we got to meet up with them while
That
we were
was
in New
cool.
York City, and then we went for Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Right. We went to
We
Mediterranean.
got to hang out with
restaurant
Raven.
and hang out with Raven, Raquel, and Jason.
And that was cool.
That was special too. So each one of these trips that we went on, we tried to hook up with some local people. We tried to add some extra flavor, and we were pretty successful along the way. The next trip that we went on in an extended weekend was Labor Day, right?
Yeah.
We did a Labor Day trip to Connecticut. And in
That was
Connecticut, we went to the Mohegan Sun Arena up there at the Mohegan Sun Casino. We saw Machine Gun Kelly,
Oh, that was a good one.
and that was fantastic. He only did a couple of one-off shows in 2023, and we got to catch that one.
We had
And
good seats for
we
that,
had
too.
great seats for it. It was a great concert.
Yes.
And on
No opener,
Saturday
no
night,
nothing.
we went to the Toyota Pavilion
Oh,
up there.
yes,
Not
for
to be
Baby
confused.
Metal.
Baby Metal
Oh
on
my
Saturday
God.
night.
Let me tell you what about Baby Metal. So their opening act, what was the name of it again?
Oh, I don't know.
Some crazy cartoon Fathom act or something. I can't remember.
They're a
the name of
Japanese
it.
metal band.
Yeah, they're a Japanese metal band. Can't remember. Deathlock, that's it.
Okay.
So you don't see their faces, nothing. You just see the cartoon and stuff. And these people were really getting into it. Mm-hmm. But when Baby Metal took the stage, the excitement
The place
of the
went
American
insane.
people seeing this band in the Toyota Pavilion was absolutely insanity. Absolute insanity. And even when we posted the video about getting to see Baby Metal, our YouTube community just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would love to see them again, you know, because I've been following them since they're younger. Now they're older, but they still have it. They have not dropped, you know, a beat. Their song, Gimme Chocolate, is their best song.
And that would be our second extended weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The following weekend, we actually went down to Philadelphia to catch Aerosmith on the fall tour. We opted for a show at the beginning of the tour because we didn't think they would make it to the end. And lo and behold, they did not make it to the end of the year on the tour. We had seats that were behind the stage for Aerosmith, and they sang a lot of old songs that everybody had hoped to hear. But for a band that's been playing for 50 years, they can play whatever they want, and the people will still scream and cheer. Mm-hmm. The stage show, because we were behind the stage, we did not see a lot of the theatrics. There was a screen that you could watch to see what was going on out front, but it was blocked by the toys in the attic.
Yeah. That was a good show. You didn't like it. You didn't like it, though.
That was our extended weekend in Philadelphia, and we had a lot of fun there, too.
Yeah, but you didn't like that show.
I didn't say that I didn't like it. I said it's a 50 years worth of music.
Well, let me just say something to you right here, right now. Maybe 50 years worth of music, and it may not be a what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? But for somebody like me, who was born in 1974, who has a massive addiction with the band Aerosmith, and got to see them for the very first time before Steven Tyler blew his vocals out, just like I'm about to any minute now, I was in my glory. So you did that for me. You didn't do that for you.
Yes,
drop the mic.
I did it for her. How sweet. Next extended weekend that we did was to fly to Knoxville, Tennessee. And we got to experience Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg,
now, that
including
was a great trip.
Dollywood. Now, they have down there lots to see, lots to do, lots to eat, and we opted for 2 different dinner shows. One was the Pirates show, and then the other one was the Dolly Parton Dixieland Stampede. They serve you dinner, they put on a show, they have beer and wine and soda, and you get souvenir glasses and pictures and all of this, and it just made for a wonderful night out. The Monday, while we were in Knoxville, we got to visit Dollywood, and we had the entire park to ourselves.
Dollywood.
They had a brand new roller coaster.
So Dollywood is made for you if you're a coaster enthusiast.
Yes.
If you're not a coaster enthusiast, do not go to Dollywood, and I'll tell you why. Because me, I'm not a coaster enthusiast as much as I've been trying to conquer this fear now for the past 39 years. Because like I said, the last time I went on a great coaster was at Great Adventure years ago. I went on the Lightning Loops in high school, and then I don't know what happened. I even went on the Super Duper Looper back in 2001 in the Comet. Don't know what happened because now I refuse to get on a coaster. Don't ask me why.
I got to ride 6 roller coasters within 3 hours.
Exactly.
Because I love to ride roller coasters.
Now the other rides they have there, they have a lot of other good rides out there. If you're not a coaster enthusiast, for you to go on.
You did the log flume ride.
Yeah.
We did a train ride all the way around the park.
There's some good ones there, but what I wish we would have really experienced, and I think it's going to be a future Cooking with the Murphys episode, is making her bread.
The cinnamon bread. You sent me the recipe again.
I did. It was a reminder.
It looked really, really good, and it smelled really, really good. But it was not going to allow us to eat dinner that day. It was within our dietary requirements. The one thing that we did get out of Gatlinburg was our trip to Ober Mountain. We went to Ober Mountain twice. There you go. They have a gondola there. They have chairlift rides at the top of the mountain. They have a roller coaster at the top of the mountain.
That was a great ride.
A mountain coaster.
Now, I went on that. No problem. I went on the mountain coaster. I had no problems.
Right at the base is the barbecue joint that we went to. Dickey's Barbecue.
Dickey's was good.
And we have a souvenir from there. Dickey's Barbecue has a pizza shop on one side and the barbecue on the other. And Lucia opted to order a pizza from next door and have it delivered to our table. So we had the best of both worlds while we were at Dickey's Barbecue.
Yeah.
Top it off, in Knoxville, we got ourselves a $99 helicopter ride where we went over the top of the entire strip.
Why is there not something like that here? Like, we got to see so much on that helicopter ride. Can you imagine if you had one that covered the Scranton Poconos or Scranton Wilkes-Barre area? That would be really cool.
Oh, and on top of the helicopter ride, we went over the Dollywood and her new brand spanking new resort.
Oh man, that was huge.
The other thing that I really, really enjoyed about that was the Titanic Museum. The Titanic Museum had all kinds of artifacts, genuine artifacts.
That was beautiful.
From the ship. And
we couldn't film anything in there.
And from people who got on the ship or people who survived the crash.
Right.
It was a very popular tourist attraction, and we really enjoyed going from spot to spot.
We did.
It was a bit interactive. You could reach in the water. You could climb up the
That was
the
crazy.
angles of the.
I did all three of them. I thought I was going to fall off the third
all
one.
three of them, and the Titanic Museum. If you get a chance to go there,
Yeah,
even
you
if it's for a
definitely
day,
gotta.
put that on
Put
your
that on
agenda.
your list. Get your tickets in advance. You definitely want to do that.
So that was our 4 extended weekends between August and September.
That wasn't too bad.
And sometimes they're just, like surrounding a concert. Like if you buy the concert ticket, the rest of the long weekend can happen.
Yep.
And that was the case with 3 out of 4 of them. But then when we got to Dollywood, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, we had no idea all the possibilities for entertainment while we were there.
Oh, yeah.
Our hotel was beautiful.
Oh.
And it had a nice swimming pool with the waterfall, and we forgot our bathing suits, right?
You always do.
We always forget our bathing suits, but then Lucia gets a brand new bikini. We love that, right?
We'll explain about that in a minute.
Yeah, like we went shopping for a bikini in Ecuador as well.
I said we'll get to that in a minute.
We're gonna get to that in a minute. That was our September and August, and this was all leading up to our biggest trip of the year. We went to Japan. We went to Japan in 2016, and 7 years ago, we were there for the 4th of July. It was very, very hot in Tokyo. We had 5 days there. We went to Disney for 2 of the days. We went to Mount Fuji for 1 of the days. We rode a bullet train back from Mount Fuji, and then we really only had 1 or 1.5 days to do other things that we wanted to do in Tokyo. So this time we were going in and we only had one thing on the agenda for each one of the cities that we were going to. We got to visit Kyoto, the old town, and in Kyoto, what did we do? We rented electric bikes, and we went through the whole place on a Sunday afternoon. We started off with the taxi cab ride. As soon as we got there, we went to bed and we weren't tired anymore, so we got a taxi ride to the temples. We got to see the Golden Temple. We got to see
our first
Kiyomizu
first
there.
midnight diner.
Our first midnight diner with meat on a stick. And we tried to mimic that about everywhere that we went, including the karage.
Nothing beats that though.
Karage fried chicken.
Nothing
and they
beats
sold
the one
it
in
everywhere.
Kyoto.
They had it. They served it to us for breakfast
They did.
every day when we got to Tokyo. The trip to Kyoto, that was the beginning of it, was renting the electric bikes. We went all over the place. We locked the bikes up in one of their bicycle parking lots.
Yeah, we did.
And got to visit their train museum
That was
in
cool.
Kyoto,
There's
which
nothing
was
like that in the world.
one of the coolest train museums I've ever heard of,
Yeah.
even existing. And on top of the temples, you can go see the growth of train travel in Japan, from old antique trains all the way to the fastest trains on the planet and
God,
the best
that was
operating system in the world. Next stop, Osaka. Beautiful new
I
Otani
loved Osaka.
hotel.
Oh my God.
Our room was overlooking the Osaka Castle,
Beautiful.
which was lit up at night and was just drop
And
dead
see, as you're
gorgeous.
explaining this now I can remember. Now I can remember exactly, because remember how I said before, oh, I don't remember doing that, or I remember doing that. Now I remember.
She has a brain like a sieve. It goes in one side and out the other. Top off the views, we had quick access to the subway trains, and that little village that was at the base of Osaka.
That village was
Castle.
cool.
They had the little tiny restaurants and shops and souvenir stands. They had a happy train that took you, save you a couple of steps along the way. That was the first spot that we ate in Osaka. And what else did they have? Family Mart.
No.
So if you want to get your karage fix on at the Family Mart, you could. And what else did they have? Lemon sours. Lemon sour in a can. It was like the equivalent of a lemon White Claw.
You were
for me.
drinking those like no tomorrow, because you couldn't find a White Claw anywhere to save you.
No, but lemon sour made with their liquor that's called Tochi. was a valid substitute. What else did we have while we were in Osaka? Rain.
Yeah, we had a lot of rain.
We had rain. We packed the umbrellas and we
I
protected
think it would
ourselves
take
from
rain over
that.
snow any day.
But we did do the conveyor belt sushi in Osaka. Walk out the back of the hotel, three blocks over on the second floor, and an endless parade of sushi. Loved eating at that place, and come to find out that it's a chain, and we could have found them anywhere over there that we wanted, and you would have sat down and would have the same experience somewhere else. What else did we do in the rain? Mario Karts.
Yeah.
We were
Let's talk
afraid
about that.
they were going to cancel our trip. We got in a cab and we got down there. We put on the Winnie the Pooh and Curious George outfits.
That was great.
And then we got to go through the streets. There was a light mist of rain in the air, but at the same time, we were going 40 miles an hour next to the traffic. A train of 10 go-karts, and Lucia was trying to keep up with everybody. Whole lot of fun was had in Osaka. After the go-kart experience, what did we do? Fish for your dinner.
Jesus.
Fish for
That
your
was
dinner.
insane. You and I were not taking any risks with that because I didn't want to buy something that I wasn't going to like.
Well, if you caught a fish that was this big, then you had to pay for it, and then they would cook it for you. And I wasn't sure which fish I was catching, so we kind of ordered off of the menu, even though we could have.
But we ate a lot of food.
Fished
The
for
yen goes very
our own
far
dinner.
over there.
And that was one of the overriding aspects of the trip. Yes, their prices just went up on the train service and that before we had gotten there, but you know what? It's still about half the price of what you would pay in the U.S. And all of the food, we would sit down at a restaurant and eat like kings and drink like kings, and what would cost $100 here was $50 there.
Yep.
Including the tip.
Yep.
Because it is not a tipping culture. It is not a tipping society. And that means that we really had another 15 to 20% discount. It was really like getting our food for $40 that we would pay $100 for here. And when I say we ate like kings, now you want to go
I
back
think
and
some
watch
people don't understand the concept of that
some of the
live.
videos. The concept of being live?
Yeah, us being live right now. I don't think a lot of people understand that concept that we're live right now doing something.
Yeah, we are in the basement playground here in Tafton.
And we're hosting a live video talking about our 2023
adventures.
Right.
And leading into what is going to be our possibilities for 2024 trip.
Exactly.
Tokyo. Next stop, Tokyo. We flew from Osaka to Tokyo.
That was great.
And
that was a really short flight.
Well, it was a really short flight. It just goes up and it comes down again. Our luggage was included. Our seat preferences were included. Everything was included for like a $99 ticket. Sure, we could have ridden the bullet train. We could have done something else some other way. But we got into Narita Airport. We found the trains to the city. And then the train took us right to the station where our hotel is. The only trouble? Biggest train station in the world.
We almost got lost.
In Shinjuku. Shinjuku, you get out of the train and start walking, and you better have a good idea what exit number you want to walk out of. We found the exit we wanted to walk out of, and we walked what was about 3 blocks with our luggage to our hotel. And come to find out, we would be walking the same 3 blocks every time we were going to the train or returning from the train. The one activity that we had planned out in Tokyo was to visit the Harry Potter.
That was great.
Warner Brothers making of studio.
Yep.
And it just opened in June of 2023. So we were some of the first people to go through it. Other people we talked to about it, they said they can't get tickets. We bought tickets the day the tickets were available for October.
We bought them months in advance.
Months in advance, because we had visited the Harry Potter studios in Oxford, north of London,
Right.
last year in December. Wonderful experience.
But I didn't know a lot about Harry Potter back then.
And she's learning more about Harry Potter now.
Yeah.
But to get on to see the comparisons and contrasting of a London version to the Tokyo version was a whole lot of fun. They had the stations all redone for Harry Potter. So they had trains, they had props all around the train station, and then they walked you down to what was a former amusement park in Tokyo. And the former amusement park, they have no longer have rides or anything like that because it's all this Harry Potter attraction. That was the highlight of our trip to Tokyo. Apart from that, it was just finding the next best place to feed ourselves. We had some restaurants where there was no English menu available.
No, none.
No one that spoke English in the
None.
restaurant. Thank goodness for our phones and our internet
Yeah.
connection, because we were able to get to translate the menus, do our ordering, and have a wonderful experience there as a result of the technology.
Watching the Japanese baseball game, eating escargot.
Eating escargot on a Sunday afternoon in Tokyo. The other thing that goes along with my love of trains is the suspended monorails.
That was awesome.
We got to visit 2 different suspended monorails while we were there. We got to visit the one in Wuppertal, the original one in Germany in 2017, and we went back there, and we had one of the monorails that took us all the way to the beach and Edoshima Island.
We did.
And we actually watched a YouTube video of somebody walking around the whole island about 3 weeks ago, and it makes us really, really want to go back and visit there again.
Yes, please.
The other thing that we did was we took the suspended monorail in Chiba, and it took us to Chiba Castle, where again we ran into people who spoke no English. These are not tourist destinations, so there's not a lot of English being spoken. But at the same time, I think that when we return to Japan, which is coming up, we might just stay in Chiba, because we will get that experience that we're so
That
desiring.
would be really cool.
So it might be a trip to Tokyo, yes, but Chiba is only, 5 minutes by train?
Something like
5
that.
minutes by train from the airport. Doesn't have a long, hour-long train ride.
So let's talk about November, or October, November, when we went to the other side of the universe.
I don't recall going to the other side of the universe.
Ecuador.
Oh, you mean going to
equator.
the equator and going to
Yes.
Machu Picchu? That was our November.
That was our November.
After my birthday and before
I didn't mean
Lucia's
to cut you off. I
birthday.
didn't mean to cut you off. Was there anything else you wanted to say about Japan?
No, that's
Okay.
that was the fun that we had while we were there.
Definitely.
We had 10 solid days of pure fun in Japan. We're going next to Quito in Ecuador to join a Gate 1 tour.
Oh,
And
we met the greatest bunch of people though on this trip. Let me tell you.
fantastic people.
I think out of all the
Gate
trips
1
that we have been
tours.
on with Gate 1 and Friendly Planet, except for Japan, of course, because we never met the other couple that went, we have made so many great friendships. But the Ecuador trip, the people we met on that one, was the best, because the whole time we had a celebrity with us and nobody knew it.
I forgot we got to meet Yuka while we were in Japan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We did get
Backtrack.
to meet Yuka in Japan from Daniel and Yuka's YouTube
Who just
channel.
had a baby. We're so happy for them.
And I don't know what, popular person you're talking about.
We're not allowed to say the
celebrity.
person's name, remember?
Oh, okay.
Ah!
All right. Well, she was just a regular person anyway.
She was not a regular person. She was a celebrity.
I think she's famous.
Yes.
Maybe she's infamous.
No, she's famous. Let's just leave it at
Famous?
that. Shush. We signed an NDA. We can't disclose it.
Yes, we got to visit the equator in Quito. We got the tour of their downtown. We got to go inside their gilded cathedral, where you walk inside and everything, I mean everything, is covered with gold.
That was beautiful.
They had some, I love that beautiful statue of Mary up on the hill. And
Yes.
if we ever went back there again, I would go and visit
I don't know if I'm
that
going back.
statue. Lucia got to eat guinea pig on the equator. Well, she put it in her mouth and spit it out anyway.
That was terrible.
Terrible
gross.
guinea pig. It was not the best
gross.
guinea pig ever.
Absolutely gross.
What else? We got to visit the Amazon jungle.
That was cool.
We stayed in a room that had an enclosed porch overlooking the river.
That was cool.
And there was no air conditioning. We had a fan on the ceiling. It was still kind of hot.
Very hot.
And the river down below flowing by.
The rain really
made it
raised
cool.
it. Mm.
Oh, and then we had rain there in the Amazon as well.
Yeah.
Our other hotel that we stayed at was just a transit hotel.
Right.
It was like we got to stay there overnight. It was a beautiful resort. They had a dinner for us.
That was great. Sacred Valley.
The Sacred
Oh
Valley.
my God.
It was.
They need to put more time there. We got to see peacock. We got to saw llamas. We got to saw. Oh man.
So it was a beautiful resort, but it was all leading up to our afternoon
Picchu.
at Machu Picchu.
Oh.
And it was important to go to Machu Picchu in the afternoon.
Yes.
The picture that I've got has a giant 6-foot wingspan condor
You should have seen that condor
flying.
in flight. Beautiful.
And what a spectacular thing to see.
Yeah.
Our tour group was the very first Gate 1 tour group to actually stay at the bottom of Machu Picchu in Aguas Calientes. And then the day before we were leaving, the day that we were leaving there, we got a tour of Aguas Calientes.
The best ceviche sits at the base of Machu Picchu. I don't care what anybody says.
Go to railroad
It is a
tracks.
true statement.
They lit it on fire.
They did. It's a true statement.
South America is still a third world country.
Yeah.
So when you go there, you have to settle for a little bit less than 5 stars.
Basically, what he's trying to tell you is this: you cannot throw your shit toilet
Easy.
paper in the toilet. You have to put it in the garbage can. And there's other things that you have to do. You cannot even drink the water, nothing. So you need to make that big adjustment in your life while you're there, because you
Brush your
cannot
teeth with bottled water.
Yes, and you cannot flog the floggers.
Flog the floggers?
They're toilets.
It's the flogger.
The toilet.
Okay, Lucia's making up her own words as we go along here. Flogging the floggers means something else, if you ask me.
Throw your shit in the bucket. Just don't flush it.
Okay, your mother's gonna be mad at you when she hears your potty
I don't
mouth.
care.
Wait and see. Fast forward past November and South America, we got to visit what I call the North Pole, and we got to go to Quebec City, Canada.
Yes.
Now, we were hoping to find some snow when we got there, and we did find some snow when we got there.
We did.
We got to tour their Christmas markets, which I think are relatively new compared to German Christmas markets that have been around
They're not even
for
close.
100 years.
Not even close. Try again.
But they're getting much better at it. We did manage to visit the Petit Champlain.
That was nice.
And
we found the best poutine at the Petit Champlain.
We did. We ate it twice. And I found a Moosehead beer
For the first time in 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
We got to eat in a revolving restaurant. We found a Japanese izakaya across
So
the
the Japanese
street.
izakaya was delicious. We ended up going there twice.
Mm-hmm.
The roundabout restaurant,
Revolving
restaurant. I'm glad you liked it, but I was not a fan. I was just there for the views.
We shared a steak. The steak was good.
Yeah.
She didn't like her non-alcoholic rum and coke.
Oh God, no.
It was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
But we were able to look into the courtyard of our hotel, which was next door to the hotel with the revolving restaurant, and see the hot tubs.
Yes, that was
Our
cool.
hotel had hot tubs, and we got to use them 3 nights.
Yeah.
maybe 3 nights.
Well, you did. I used them 2 nights.
Well, the very first night it was only 15 degrees out.
Crazy.
And I got to go in the hot tub.
Just
and
like
she
it
did
is
not
here
go.
now. You're going to be going out in that
But I
hot tub,
scoped
not
it all
me.
out. I scoped it all out, and then we got her in there the next night, and then the third night out, you watched me from the window.
I did.
Go to they had a beautiful swimming pool. They had a sauna that was like 176
That
degrees
was
inside
nice.
there, and the hot tubs themselves. There was 2 of them. So if you went outside and one was crowded, you could just go into the other one. So that was our pre-Christmas trip. We also got to see their Canadian Dream Mall,
Oh.
right? And
Nothing like the American Dream, though, but close.
it had an amusement park inside, and
Close.
it had an ice skating rink underneath it. It was pretty cool. Our Saturday night was the topper. Oh no, wait. Saturday night was our
Sunday.
second to last meal, and we had it at the Greek restaurant Les Mes.
Yes.
And outside of visiting Greece and eating there, this was the next best thing. Last but not least, our Korean barbecue on
That was-
Sunday
that
night
was
before
so
we were
good.
flying home.
You ordered so
was-
much food. I needed a wheelbarrow to take you
It was
home.
all you could eat, and whoever's on the menu that you asked for, they would bring it for you, but you have to eat everything. Otherwise, they'll charge you for it because you ordered too much.
Right.
Wonderful trip to the Korean barbecue. And all of that set us up for a Christmas at home with the children and your brother and your niece
That
and
was
your
nice.
mama. And 2 days after Christmas, we actually went back to the airport and we got on a plane and we were going to sunny Texas. Sunny Dallas, Texas.
So why were we in Texas?
He's going to see them Cowboys.
Who's the Cowboy fan?
Lucia's a big Cowboy fan, and she's had this dream of visiting the AT&T Stadium
For
in Arlington.
28 years.
And we got there, and we packed it in for an extended weekend.
Well, we packed it in all right. We got sick.
And while we were there, the temperature would fluctuate from 30 degrees in the morning to 65 degrees in the afternoon, and then back down to 30 degrees after the sun went down.
Yep.
We're still reveling in the marvelous time that we had
Yeah.
in Dallas. Got to eat with my cousins that live down there, and I think that it always makes the trip a little bit more special.
I enjoyed the
when we
Mexican
had
seafood
that.
restaurant because it was
Right
all in
next door.
Spanish. Nobody spoke
Ceviche.
English. They were doing Spanish
Karaoke.
karaoke. We were right at home. Like, it was a lot of fun.
So to summarize, 2023.
2023 has been very good to us.
2023 was a very good year for travel for us after living through the pandemic and the post-pandemic
Yeah.
days of limited travel. I think that we were able to do a lot with a little bit of money along the way.
Yep.
Our 2024,
Oh.
we have a couple of things booked
Well,
already.
we're in tax season right now, so the only thing that we have booked, because we had to really think about it if we were going to do it, so the timing was right, is in February. We're going to the Kirby Center to go see the local band, Burn the Jukebox. They're 4 kids from our area. They're between the ages of 13 and 16, maybe 14 and 16. They're extremely talented and they're very famous on Facebook. In fact, the bassist's mom used to be in a band called Pop Rocks years ago. I used to follow her and her husband like tooth and nail back in my band days. They're going to open up for Philadelphia Freedom. So we're going to definitely go see them because I am very excited to finally be able to go and see them. The talent that these 4 children have,
TikTok famous.
incredible.
So that is our
February.
one hurrah in February. And then in
May,
we have a
7-country cruise with MSC Poesia, which is a smaller ship. It has about 2,500 passenger capacity.
and it's in May when the children are still in
Right,
school.
and it doesn't have all the wings and disses of all the bigger cruise ships
That's
that we've been
okay.
on, which is okay, but this is going to be good because we're going to 7 different countries.
We have tickets to Sammy Hagar in Bridgeport, Connecticut at the end of July.
Rumor has it he's bringing David Lee Roth with him, which would be pretty cool if it's true.
Rumor has it we will turn that into an extended weekend somehow.
Yep.
And in September/October,
We're going back to Japan.
we're going back to
But we're going to
Japan.
add another week, and we're going to South Korea.
We're going to go to South Korea for a couple of days and then spend a couple of days in Japan.
And then in October or in November, the biggest controversial trip that we've ever booked is going to happen, whether I like it or not. We're going to see the last wonder of the world for me in Rio de Janeiro. That should have happened back in 2015, and I did not go.
3 nights in Rio, 2 nights at the Iguazu Falls in South America, and then another 2 nights, maybe 3 nights in Argentina. We're going to Buenos Aires, and we're going to have dinner with the Gauchos at their steak ranch.
The Gauchos.
The Gauchos, that's what they call them. They're cowboys in South America are
Yeah.
called Gauchos.
Yeah.
In case your little brain didn't know that, right?
And then in December, we're going to go to Panama Canal on a cruise with NCL.
December,
Gem.
we have the NCL Gem. It leaves Miami. It visits a couple of islands in the Caribbean, and it takes us through the Panama Canal, and it'll leave us in Panama City for a day or two before we fly back to Miami and then back home. And other than that, we have my son's wedding.
Yep, August.
Today is the anniversary of their engagement party here at the Ledges Hotel. And the end of August, he will be getting married in Stonehenge.
In Clark Summit, Pennsylvania.
No, it's not Stonehenge. It's Stone something or other.
Stonehenge Gardens.
That's it. It might be. No, Stonehenge is the golf course.
I know it is. It's the gardens at the golf course.
Okay. We're going to have a wedding, and we're going to have very little by way of big trips near the wedding.
That's right.
And that could pretty much define our 2024 schedule. So tune in a year from now if you want to hear our 2024 recap. If you want to hear any more details about our stuff from 2023, you'll have to go and check out our YouTube
Stop.
videos. Watch it, you. Got anything else to add there?
No.
All right. So Lucia doesn't have anything else to add. And we wanted to say thank you all for tuning in for the last almost 1 hour to hear our recap of what a wonderful 2023 travel season we had. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.